If you stay in that seat, you're next. Have you ever been in the wrong place at the wrong time and had a complete stranger tell you it might cost you your life? Grace Walker's fingers freeze on the armrest, row 14, aisle seat. Her first solo business trip, and she's already regretting every choice that led her here. The plane trembles through turbulence, and the cabin lights flicker once, then twice. Outside the window, storm clouds churn like something angry. The man across the aisle leans closer. Charcoal suit, long coat, eyes like polished steel. His voice is barely a whisper, but every word cuts through the hum of the engines. Someone on this plane is killing people, and they think you're the witness. Grace's heart slams against her ribs. What are you talking about? Behind her, 3 rows back, a man in a gray shirt kneels beside a slumped passenger. He's not breathing, he calls to the flight attendant, concern thick in his voice. I think he's having a heart attack. But Grace catches something else. A thin beam of red light, barely there, cutting through the dim cabin. It vanishes as the gray-shirted man shifts position. The stranger across from her moves his hand to his jacket. Something hidden beneath the fabric, something that shouldn't be on a plane. My name is Liam, he says quietly, and right now you need to decide, do you trust me or do you die? Grace's mind races. This can't be real. This is a flight to Jacksonville. There are 40 people here, flight attendants, rules, security. But Liam doesn't look away. His hand stays near his jacket. His posture is coiled, alert. Everything about him screams danger, but not to her. Look at his shoes, Liam says quietly. What? The man in the gray shirt. Look at his shoes. Grace glances back, trying to be casual. The gray-shirted man is still crouched beside the slumped passenger, speaking urgently to the flight attendant who's hurrying toward them with a first aid kit. His outfit is polished, pressed gray shirt, dark slacks, even a leather watch that catches the light. Professional, expensive. But his shoes are scuffed, worn at the edges. Combat boots, maybe, or something tactical. They don't match the rest of him at all. And there's something on his sleeve, a smudge, dark gray, ash maybe, or powder residue. Grace's stomach turns. She's seen that before. Her brother was in the military. She knows what gunpowder looks like after it's been fired. He's not helping that man, Liam says, his voice barely audible, over the cabin noise. He just made sure he'd never wake up. Grace's pulse hammers in her ears. Why are you telling me this? Because you're sitting in the wrong seat. She blinks. I what? Liam's jaw tightens. She notices the silver signet ring on his right hand, worn smooth like it's been there for decades. The man he just killed was supposed to testify against a cartel operation in Miami. Federal witness, FBI protection. Someone leaked his seat number to the cartel. He pauses and his eyes hold hers with an intensity that makes her breath catch. Yours was 1 digit off, seat 14D instead of 14E. Grace feels the blood drain from her face. Her hands go cold. So he thinks that you're the witness, yes. And when he realizes you're not, when he figures out his mistake, he'll correct it. He'll find the real witness and eliminate you as a loose end. The plane shudders again. The seatbelt sign chimes softly overhead. A gentle reminder that seems absurd given what Liam's just told her. How do you know all this? Grace whispers. Liam's expression doesn't change. Because I know how these people work. I've spent my entire life learning how they think, how they operate. You're Mafia, Grace says. It's not a question. Liam's mouth curves just slightly, not quite a smile. Does that scare you more than the man with the gun 3 rows back? Grace opens her mouth, closes it. She should say yes. She should be terrified. But right now, the only thing keeping her from screaming is this stranger's calm, steady presence. "What do I do?" she asks instead. Liam's hand moves to her armrest. His fingers are close to hers, not quite touching. "Fasten your seatbelt. Crouch low, like you're looking for something in your bag. Don't look back. Don't make eye contact with anyone." "What are you going to do?" His eyes are steady, unflinching. "Keep you alive." Grace's fingers fumble with the seatbelt. It takes her 3 tries to click it into place. Her hands won't stop shaking. She forces herself to breathe. In through her nose, out through her mouth, the way she teaches her second graders when they're scared before a test. You can do this. Just stay calm. Stay smart. Liam shifts in his seat, angling his body to block her from view. His coat falls open slightly, and Grace catches a glimpse of a shoulder holster. Black leather, well worn. Her breath hitches. He's armed, on a plane. That should terrify me. But so is the man 3 rows back. And somehow Liam's weapon feels like protection, not a threat. The flight attendant hurries past, her face pale, her professional smile nowhere to be seen. She ducks behind the galley curtain. Grace hears muffled voices, urgent, clipped, afraid. "They're calling the captain," Liam says quietly, "reporting a medical emergency." "Is that good?" "It buys us time, maybe 5 minutes." "Then what?" Then the assassin realizes his target is still alive, and he starts looking for answers. Liam's gaze never leaves the aisle. His fingers drum once against his thigh, a quiet, controlled rhythm. Grace wonders if he's even aware he's doing it. She studies him more carefully now. Mid-30s, maybe pushing 40. Strong jawline dusted with stubble. Dark hair swept back from his face. There's a scar along his temple, faint but visible. And his eyes, gray, like winter storms, hold a kind of weariness that comes from seeing too much. He doesn't look like a businessman. He doesn't look like someone who should be on a routine flight to Jacksonville. He looks like someone who's done this before, who's lived in shadows and survived. "How long have you been in this life?" Grace asks quietly. Liam glances at her. Something shifts in his expression, surprise maybe, that she's asking. "Long enough to recognize danger when I see it. And you just help people? Random strangers on planes?" "When I can." "Why?" His fingers still against his thigh. For a moment, he's somewhere else, somewhere darker. "Because 2 years ago, I didn't," he says finally. His voice is rough, low. "My sister, she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. The cartel found her before I could." He looks at Grace then, and there's something raw in his eyes, something that hasn't healed. "She was 23, a nurse. She had nothing to do with my family's business, but they didn't care." Grace's chest tightens. "I'm sorry." "So am I." Liam's jaw clenches every single day. Before Grace can respond, the cabin lights flicker, once, twice, then they go out completely. Red emergency lights bleed across the rows, casting everything in shadow and crimson. The plane feels suddenly smaller, closer, like the walls are pressing in. Grace hears footsteps, slow, deliberate, moving down the aisle. Liam's hand closes around her wrist. His grip is firm, grounding. "Move, now." What would you do if safety was just an illusion, and the only person who could protect you was a stranger with secrets of his own? If you're already hooked, give us a like and subscribe. This story is just beginning. Liam pulls Grace into the forward galley. The space is cramped, barely 6 feet square, cluttered with beverage carts and storage bins. The scent of stale coffee and recycled air presses in around them. Grace's back hits the counter. Her breath comes fast, shallow. The red emergency lights make everything look wrong, like they've stepped into a nightmare. Liam reaches into his coat with practiced ease and draws a compact pistol. The metal gleams dully in the crimson light. He checks the magazine with quick, efficient movements. Grace stares. "You brought a gun on a plane." "So did he. But you're not the one hunting you." His voice is calm, but there's an edge beneath it, steel beneath silk. Right now, that's all that matters. The curtain rustles. Grace's entire body goes rigid. A shadow moves past the narrow gap, slow, methodical, searching. Liam's body shifts, positioning himself between Grace and the opening. His hand tightens on the weapon. His breathing is controlled, measured. This is a man who knows how to wait. The shadow pauses. Grace can see the outline through the curtain. Broad shoulders, something held at his side. A bag, maybe, or a weapon. Grace holds her breath until her lungs burn. Then the footsteps move away, toward the back of the plane. Liam exhales slowly. He's checking the rows, looking for you. He knows something's wrong. How long before he finds out I'm not the witness? Minutes, maybe less. Liam glances at her. We need to think, fast. Grace forces herself to focus. Her mind feels scattered, panic pulling at the edges. But she's a teacher. She solves problems. She notices details that others miss. She replays the image in her mind. The gray-shirted man. The laptop bag that hung too light on his shoulder. The Band-Aid on his hand. The ash on his sleeve. His jacket, she says suddenly. What about it? There was gunpowder residue on his jacket. I saw it when he leaned over the passenger. And his shoes, they didn't match his outfit at all. He's not a businessman. He's pretending to be one. Liam looks at her, and something shifts in his expression. Respect, maybe, or surprise. You have a good eye. I notice things, Grace says quietly. I have to. I teach 7-year-olds. If you don't catch the details, you miss what's really happening. Despite everything, the danger, the fear, the impossibility of their situation, Liam almost smiles. Then keep noticing, because those details might save our lives. They move deeper into the galley. Liam scans the storage compartments with quick, assessing glances. He's looking for something, weapons, tools, anything. He pulls out a fire extinguisher, tests its weight, sets it aside where he can reach it quickly. Grace watches him work. His movements are precise, efficient. No wasted motion. No panic. This isn't his first crisis, maybe not even his 100th. How long have you been doing this? She asks. Doing what? Living like this, expecting danger around every corner. Liam's hands still for just a moment. Since I was 16, the day my father sat me down and explained what our family really does, what it means to carry the Carver name in New York. And you just accepted it? I didn't have a choice. He looks at her then, and there's something weary in his eyes. When you're born into certain families, your path is already chosen. You can walk it with dignity, or you can fight it and lose. I chose to walk it, to do what I could and to make it better from the inside. Better how? By protecting people who can't protect themselves. By refusing jobs that hurt innocence, by making sure that when my family's name is spoken, it's with respect, not fear. He pauses. It's not perfect, it's not even good, most days. But it's better than what my father built. Grace's throat tightens. She sees it now. The weight he carries. The burden of trying to be honorable in a dishonorable world. That's why you're helping me, she says softly. Because I'm innocent. Because you remind me that there's still something worth protecting. Liam's eyes hold hers. And because losing my sister taught me that hesitation costs lives. A muffled sound echoes from the main cabin, a thud, followed by a soft cry that's quickly silenced. Grace's blood runs cold. What was that? Liam's jaw clenches. He's eliminating potential witnesses, anyone who might have seen too much, anyone who could identify him later. Oh God, we have to stop him. We will. Liam checks his weapon again. But we need to be smart. He's trained, he's armed, and if we're not careful, we'll just add 2 more bodies to his count. Grace's hands curl into fists. Fear is still there, sharp and cold, but something else rises beneath it. Anger, determination. People are dying. Children could be on this plane. I have to do something. What do we do? She asks, and her voice is steadier now. Liam looks at her, really looks, and she sees approval in his eyes. We set a trap, and we wait for him to walk into it. Liam eases the curtain aside, just enough to peer into the main cabin. The red emergency lights paint everything in blood-dark shadow. Passengers are huddled low in their seats, some crying quietly, others frozen in terror. Grace's heart aches for them. These are families, teachers, students, people with lives and dreams, and people waiting for them at home. The gray-shirted man is halfway down the aisle now, moving methodically row by row. His laptop bag is open, and something metallic glints inside, angular, compact, deadly. See the tool storage bay? Liam whispers, pointing to the back corner near the rear galley. Under the jump seat, that's where we're going. That's closer to him. Exactly. He'll search forward first, thinking you ran to the cockpit. By the time he doubles back, we'll be ready. Grace swallows hard. Ready how? I'll explain when we get there. Right now, we move. Stay low. Follow my lead. Don't make a sound. They slip into the cabin, crouched between the seats. Grace's knees ache against the thin carpet. Her heart pounds so loud, she's sure everyone can hear it. They weave between rows, past passengers who watch them with wide, terrified eyes. A woman clutches a rosary, her lips moving in silent prayer. A man shields his young daughter, his hand over her eyes. Grace wants to tell them it will be okay. That help is coming, but she doesn't know if that's true. They reach the back galley. Liam yanks open the storage bay door, a narrow compartment meant for emergency equipment and supplies. It's cramped, dark, barely big enough for one person, let alone 2. Get in, Liam breathes. Grace hesitates for only a second, then she climbs in, pressing herself against the back wall. Liam follows, pulling the door shut just as footsteps approach from the main cabin. They're pressed together in absolute darkness. Grace can feel Liam's heartbeat, steady, strong, controlled. Her own is wild, erratic, terrified. Outside, the assassin's voice drifts through the thin wall. Where is she? Another voice answers. Younger, nervous, American accent, but with an edge of something else underneath. I don't know, sir. She's not in her seat. Maybe she went to the bathroom? Grace's eyes widen. 2? There are 2 of them. Liam curses under his breath, barely audible. Find her, the first voice snaps. Check the cockpit. Make sure the pilot is still compliant. I'll search the cabin. Yes, sir. Footsteps move away. One set toward the front, one set toward the back. In the darkness, Liam's lips are close to Grace's ear. Listen to me very carefully. This changes everything. Grace's mind spins. 2 assassins, 1 plane, 30,000 feet in the air. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Liam shifts in the cramped space, his hand braced against the wall beside her head. His face is inches from hers, shadowed but focused. She can smell coffee on his breath, and something else, cologne, maybe, faint and expensive. Listen to me, he says quietly, his voice barely a thread of sound. If there are 2, then they're working a coordinated plan. One hunts, one secures. The younger one, the nervous one, he's heading to the cockpit. That means they're not just here to kill, they're here to take control of this plane. Why? Grace whispers. Because dead bodies on a plane mean investigations, forensics, witnesses. But if they can land this plane somewhere remote, Cuba maybe, or a cartel-controlled airstrip in Central America, they can disappear. Everyone on board becomes leverage or loose ends. Grace's throat tightens. So everyone on this plane is expendable to them. Yes. Liam's eyes hold hers in the darkness, which means we're not just fighting for you anymore. We're fighting for all of them. The weight of it crashes over her like a wave. 40 people, families, the little girl with the pink backpack she saw boarding, the elderly couple holding hands in row 7, all of them depending on 2 people hiding in a storage bay. We have to warn someone, Grace says. The pilot, air traffic control. The pilot is likely already under duress, and if they've disabled communications, air traffic control won't know anything's wrong until we don't respond to check-ins. Liam pauses. We're on our own. Then what do? We stop them. How? By being smarter, faster, and by working together. Liam's hand finds hers in the darkness. His fingers are warm, calloused, steady. I need you to tell me everything you remember, every detail. The smallest things might matter. Grace closes her eyes, forcing herself past the fear. Think, observe, remember. The first assassin, the one in the gray shirt, mid-40s maybe. Dark hair with some gray at the temples. He had a small cut on his right hand, covered with a Band-Aid, fresh from today or yesterday. And the gunpowder ash on his sleeve, it was on the right side, near the cuff. So he's right-handed, recently fired a weapon. Liam's voice is approving. What else? Yellow-tinted glasses, the kind marksmen use, and his laptop bag was expensive, leather with brass fixtures, but it hung too light. There was nothing in it except the weapon. The weapon's probably custom, built into the lining, compact silencer. Liam's mind is working, cataloging. What about the second one? Grace thinks back. The younger voice, the nervousness. I only heard him, but he sounded American. Maybe late 20s or early 30s. He's scared, you can hear it in his voice. Which makes him dangerous. Scared people make mistakes. They overreact. Liam's jaw tightens. If he's in the cockpit with the pilot, we need to neutralize the first assassin before we can help. Otherwise, we're fighting on 2 fronts. How do we do that? Liam reaches beside them, feeling in the darkness. His hand finds the oxygen tank mounted on the wall of the bay. He unstraps it carefully, quietly, testing its weight. "We set a trap," he says. "When he searches this area, he'll open this door. The moment he does, I'll use the tank to disorient him. 1 second of surprise. That's all I need." He reaches up, unclips a seatbelt from the wall panel. In the dark, Grace hears the soft whisper of fabric being threaded through metal. "I'm looping this through the door handle," Liam explains. "When he pulls it open, it'll catch his wrist. Not enough to stop him, but enough to throw him off balance." "And if it doesn't work?" Liam's hand tightens around hers. "Then you run, straight to the cockpit. You get that door open and you warn the pilot. Don't look back. Don't wait for me. I'm not leaving you. Grace, we're in this together now." Her voice is firm, stronger than she feels. "You said it yourself. We work together or we fail. So stop trying to protect me like I'm helpless. I'm scared, yes, but I'm not useless." In the darkness, she feels rather than sees his smile. "No, you're definitely not useless." Something passes between them in that moment. An understanding, a bond forged in crisis. "Okay," Liam says quietly. "Then here's what we do. When I hit him with the tank, you go for his weapon, the laptop bag. Don't try to use the gun, just get it away from him. Can you do that?" Grace thinks of her classroom, of the time she broke up a fight between 2 8-year-olds and confiscated a pair of scissors before anyone got hurt, of the parent who came to school drunk and belligerent, and how she'd stood between him and her students until security arrived. She's always been afraid, but she's never let fear stop her from doing what needs to be done. "Yes," she says, "I can do that." They wait. Seconds stretch into minutes. Grace counts her breaths, trying to stay calm. In through the nose, out through the mouth, the way she teaches her students before a big test. "You can do this. You're braver than you think." She hopes that's true. Outside, footsteps approach. Slow, methodical. The assassin is searching every possible hiding place. Liam tenses beside her. His breathing slows, deepens, controlled, ready. The footsteps stop just outside the bay. Grace's heart hammers against her ribs. She can hear her own pulse, loud and frantic. The door handle rattles. Liam's grip tightens on the oxygen tank. The door swings open. Red light floods in, blinding after the darkness. The seatbelt snaps taut. The assassin's wrist catches, yanks forward. "What the—" Liam moves. He slams the oxygen tank into the man's ribs. The impact is brutal, precise. The assassin grunts, stumbles backward into the aisle. Grace scrambles out of the bay, her eyes searching for the laptop bag. There, on the floor, where it fell when the assassin stumbled. She lunges for it. The assassin recovers faster than she expected. He's trained for this. His hand shoots out, grabbing her wrist. "Nice try, little girl," he snarls. Grace doesn't think. She drives her knee up, hard, the way her brother taught her when she was 16 and about to go to college. If someone grabs you, you fight dirty. No rules, just survive. The assassin doubles over with a choked gasp. Grace grabs the laptop bag and throws it to Liam. Liam catches it, tosses it aside, out of reach. His focus is on the assassin, who's already reaching for something else. A backup weapon, probably. A knife. The blade flashes in the red light. Liam catches the assassin's wrist, twists. They grapple, crashing into a row of seats. Grace grabs the fire extinguisher from the galley. She raises it, waiting for an opening. The assassin's elbow connects with Liam's jaw. Blood sprays. Liam's head snaps back. "Liam!" Grace shouts. Liam recovers, drives a fist into the assassin's solar plexus. The man gasps, wheezes. Liam slams him against the bulkhead. Once, twice. Grace sees her moment. She swings the extinguisher. It connects with the assassin's shoulder. He crumples, the knife clattering away. Liam doesn't hesitate. He pins the man to the floor, uses the seatbelt to bind his wrists behind his back. Tight, professional. "Check for more weapons," Liam says, breathing hard. Blood drips from a cut above his eye. Grace kneels, patting down the assassin's pockets with shaking hands. She finds another knife strapped to his ankle, a phone in his jacket, nothing else. Liam takes both. "Go," he tells Grace. "Check the cockpit." "What about you?" "I need to secure him, make sure he can't get loose." Liam looks at her, and despite the blood, despite the violence, his eyes are steady. "Go. I'll catch up." Grace runs. The red emergency lights paint the cabin in shades of crimson and shadow. Grace moves fast, her sneakers silent on the thin carpet. Passengers watch her pass. Some reach out, desperate. "Is help coming? What's happening? Please, my daughter." Grace's chest aches. She wants to stop, to reassure them, but she can't. Not yet. She reaches the forward galley. The cockpit door is ajar, just a crack, but enough. Inside, she hears voices. One calm, measured, one frantic with barely controlled terror. "No choice, you understand? We land where I tell you, you live. You refuse. Everyone on this plane dies." The pilot's voice is shaking, breaking. "I can't just change course. Air traffic control will notice. They'll scramble fighters. We'll be shot down." "Then you'd better fly convincingly. Make it look like mechanical failure, fuel leak, electrical problems. I don't care. But you're taking us to Cuba, and you're doing it now." Grace's blood runs cold. Cuba. Once they're in Cuban airspace, this plane and everyone on it disappears. No rescue, no witnesses. She presses herself against the wall, peering through the narrow gap. The second assassin stands behind the pilot's seat, a gun pressed to the back of the captain's head. He's younger than the first, late 20s maybe, with sandy hair and a nervous energy that radiates off him in waves. His hand trembles slightly. The co-pilot is slumped in the corner, unconscious. Blood trickles from a gash on his temple. Grace's mind races. "I can't fight him. I don't have a weapon. I don't have Liam's training. But she has something else. She has her wits, and she has the element of surprise." She scans the galley quickly. Coffee pot, glass would shatter. Serving trays, metal could be loud. Napkins useless. And then she sees it. The fire alarm lever, bright red, clearly marked. An idea forms. It's risky, probably stupid, but it's all she has. Grace takes a breath, centers herself. You can do this. You save kids from choking hazards and playground bullies. You can handle one scared assassin. She hopes that's true. She reaches for the lever. Her fingers close around the cold metal. One chance, make it count. She pulls. The alarm screams to life, a piercing, relentless wail that fills every inch of the cabin, so loud it's physically painful. The sound bounces off the walls, disorienting, overwhelming. The assassin spins toward the noise, startled. His gun swings away from the pilot's head. Grace grabs the glass coffee pot and hurls it. It shatters against the cockpit door frame, exploding in a spray of glass and cold coffee. The assassin shouts, shielding his face with his free arm. Liam appears beside Grace like a shadow given form. His weapon is drawn. Blood still drips from the cut above his eye, but his hands are rock steady. "Federal agent," he shouts over the alarm. It's a lie, but a useful one. "Drop the weapon." The assassin's eyes go wide. For a second, just one crucial second, he freezes. Liam surges forward into the cockpit. The assassin fires. The shot goes wild, punching through the ceiling panel. Insulation rains down. Liam closes the distance in 3 strides. He catches the assassin's wrist, slams it against the instrument panel. The gun falls, clatters to the floor. They grapple in the confined space. It's brutal, chaotic. The assassin is younger, faster, but Liam is stronger, more experienced. The assassin drives an elbow into Liam's injured ribs. Liam grunts, his grip loosening for just a moment. The assassin breaks free, lunging for the fallen gun. Grace sees it happening in slow motion. No, 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 no. She throws herself forward. The assassin's boot connects with her shoulder. Pain explodes through her arm, white-hot and nauseating. She crashes against the co-pilot's chair, but she has the gun. She raises it with shaking hands, pointing it at the assassin. "Stop." The assassin freezes. His eyes lock on hers. There's calculation there, assessment. "You won't shoot," he says. His accent is American, but there's something practiced about it. "You're a teacher. I can see it in your eyes. You've never hurt anyone in your life." Grace's finger hovers over the trigger. Her hands shake so badly she can barely keep the weapon steady. He's right. I've never even held a real gun before. I don't know if the safety's on. I don't know if there's even a bullet in the chamber. But she thinks of the pilot, the unconscious co-pilot, the 40 passengers in the cabin behind her. The little girl with the pink backpack. "You're right," she says quietly. Her voice doesn't shake. "I won't shoot you." She pulls the fire suppression lever beside her. A deafening alarm joins the fire siren. The cockpit fills with flashing lights, red, white, yellow, all pulsing in chaotic rhythm. The noise is unbearable, disorienting, designed to get people out of a burning plane as fast as possible. The assassin staggers, covering his ears, his eyes squinting against the lights. Liam doesn't hesitate. He drives a fist into the man's jaw. The assassin's head snaps back. His knees buckle. Liam catches him, spins him around, slams him face first against the instrument panel. He yanks the man's arms behind his back, secures them with the co-pilot's belt. Grace hits the alarm shutoff. The silence that follows is almost as shocking as the noise was. Her ears ring. Her shoulder throbs. Her hands won't stop shaking. Liam turns to her. Blood trickles from the cut above his eye, and there's a new bruise forming along his jaw. But he's smiling, just barely. "You were braver than you think," he says. Grace laughs. It's shaky, breathless, slightly hysterical. "I just pulled every lever I could find and hoped something would work." It did. Liam reaches out, gently touches her injured shoulder. "Are you hurt?" "I'll live," she winces. "Probably." The pilot slumps in his seat, shaking. "Thank God, thank God." Liam kneels beside the co-pilot, checks his pulse. He's alive, concussion, probably, but stable. "Can you fly?" Grace asks the pilot. The man nods shakily. Yes, He takes a breath, steadying himself. "I can fly, where?" "Jacksonville," Liam says firmly. "Emergency landing. As fast as you can get us there." The pilot's hands move over the controls, flipping switches, adjusting course. "Roger that. We're about 20 minutes out." I'll radio ahead. Get emergency crews ready. Tell them we have 2 suspects in custody and multiple passengers who may need medical attention. Liam glances at Grace. And tell them to have FBI waiting on the tarmac. Grace helps Liam drag the unconscious assassin out of the cockpit and secure him in a seat. The passengers watch in stunned silence. Then, slowly, applause begins. Quiet at first, then building. A wave of relief and gratitude that sweeps through the cabin. Grace feels tears prick her eyes. We did it. We actually did it. Liam's hand finds hers, squeezes gently. They make their way to the galley. Grace's legs are shaking so badly she can barely stand. Liam guides her to sit on one of the storage bins. "Let me see your shoulder," he says. "It's fine." "Grace." She sighs, lets him ease her jacket off. His fingers are gentle, careful. Even through the pain, she notices how warm his hands are. "It's going to bruise," he says, "but nothing's broken. You're lucky." "Lucky?" Grace laughs weakly. "Is that what we're calling this?" Liam's mouth quirks. "You're alive, so yeah, I'd call that lucky." He reaches up, touches the cut above his eye, winces. "Your turn," Grace says. She finds a first aid kit in one of the overhead bins, pulls out antiseptic wipes and bandages. "Sit." "I'm fine." "Liam." He sits. Grace cleans the cut carefully, her fingers gentle. He doesn't flinch, even though she knows it must hurt. Up close like this, she can see the fine lines at the corners of his eyes, the silver threading through his dark hair, the way his jaw clenches and unclenches like he's holding something back. "You saved my life," she says quietly. "You saved mine first." "How do you figure that?" Liam's eyes meet hers, gray and steady and achingly honest. "Because you reminded me why I do this, why I keep fighting even when it would be easier to walk away." "And why is that?" "Because there are still people worth protecting. People like you who see someone in trouble and run toward it instead of away." Grace's throat tightens. "I was terrified." "So was I." "You didn't look scared." "That's because I've had more practice hiding it." Liam's hand covers hers. "But Grace, I was terrified the whole time, because losing you, someone innocent, someone brave, someone who actually gives a damn, that would have broken something in me I'm not sure I could fix." Grace's breath catches. She doesn't know what to say to that, doesn't know how to respond to the raw honesty in his voice. So she just holds on and lets the silence speak for them. The plane begins its descent. Grace feels the shift in pressure, the way the floor tilts slightly. Outside the window, dawn is breaking. Soft gold light spills across the clouds, painting everything in shades of honey and rose. It's the most beautiful thing Grace has ever seen. "We're going to land," she says. "Yeah." "What happens after that?" Liam's hand tightens around hers. "The FBI takes over. They'll question everyone, process the scene, take the suspects into custody. And you? They'll want to talk to me, too." He pauses. "My family name carries weight. Not always the good kind, but I've cooperated with federal authorities before. I'm on decent terms with a few agents who understand the difference between the Carver family business and the cartels." "Will they arrest you?" "No, I didn't break any laws today. I'll give my statement, they'll verify everything, and I'll be free to go." Grace nods. But something in her chest aches at the thought of him walking away. "What about me?" she asks. Liam looks at her, really looks, and something in his expression softens. "You're a hero," You helped stop a hijacking, saved lives. The FBI will want your statement, but you're not in any trouble. That's not what I meant. He knows. She can see it in his eyes. I don't know what happens after this, Liam says quietly. I don't know if you'll want to see me again. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. What I am, what my family is, it's not safe. It's not normal. It's the kind of thing that gets people hurt. You didn't hurt me. You protected me. Today, yes, but tomorrow, next week. I can't promise that being around me won't put you in danger again. Grace thinks about that, about the fear and the violence and the red emergency lights. And then she thinks about Liam's hand around hers, his body shielding her, his voice steady and calm when everything else was chaos. I'm a second-grade teacher, she says. I spend my days with kids who are learning how to read and how to be kind and how to face their fears. And you know what I tell them? What? That brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means choosing to do the right thing even when you are. She squeezes his hand. You're brave, Liam. You're not perfect, but you're trying to be better, and that matters. Liam's eyes shine. For a moment, he looks younger, less burdened. You're something else, Grace Walker, he murmurs. So are you, Liam Carver. The plane touches down. The landing is rough, urgent, but they're on the ground. They're alive. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is trust someone, even when everything tells you not to. The plane rolls to a stop. Through the window, Grace sees a sea of flashing lights. FBI vehicles, ambulances, fire trucks, local police. The pilot's voice crackles over the intercom, hoarse but steady. Ladies and gentlemen, we've landed safely in Jacksonville. Please remain seated. Authorities will board shortly to assist you. A collective exhale moves through the cabin. Relief, disbelief, tears. Grace watches as passengers embrace each other. The elderly couple she saw earlier are holding hands, their foreheads pressed together. The mother with the little girl pulls her daughter close, sobbing. We saved them. We actually saved them. The reality of it hits Grace all at once. Her hands start shaking again. Her breath comes in sharp, uneven gasps. Liam pulls her close, his arms strong and steady around her. Breathe, he murmurs. Just breathe. You're okay. We're okay. Grace buries her face in his shoulder and lets herself shake. Lets the fear and adrenaline drain out of her in trembling waves. Liam doesn't let go. He just holds her, one hand stroking her hair, murmuring quiet reassurances that she can barely hear over her own racing thoughts. Eventually, the shaking stops. Grace pulls back, wiping her eyes. Sorry. Don't be. Liam's thumb brushes a tear from her cheek. You're allowed to fall apart after saving 40 people. We saved them. We saved them, he agrees. The cabin door opens. FBI agents board, weapons drawn, moving with quick efficiency. Everyone stay seated, hands where we can see them. An agent approaches Liam. He's older, gray-haired, with sharp eyes and a badge clipped to his belt. Liam Carver? That's me. Special Agent Morrison. We spoke a few months ago about the port situation. I remember. Morrison's gaze shifts to Grace, assessing. And you are? Grace Walker. I'm just a passenger. A passenger who helped subdue 2 armed hijackers, according to the pilot's report. Morrison's expression softens slightly. We'll need statements from both of you, but first, let's get you checked out by the paramedics. I'm fine, Grace says automatically. Ma'am, You were assaulted by an armed criminal. You're getting checked out. Liam stands, offering Grace his hand. He's right. Let them look at your shoulder. Grace lets him pull her to her feet. Her legs are still unsteady, but Liam's hand on her elbow keeps her grounded. They're escorted off the plane. The morning sun is bright, almost painful after the red-lit cabin. Grace squints against it. Paramedics descend on them immediately. Grace is guided to one ambulance, Liam to another. Wait, Grace says, reaching for him. Liam catches her hand, holds tight for just a moment. I'll find you, I promise. You'd better. He smiles. Then he's gone, surrounded by paramedics and agents asking questions. Grace sits in the back of the ambulance while a paramedic examines her shoulder, presses gently, asks her to move her arm, checks for broken bones. You're going to have one hell of a bruise, the paramedic says cheerfully. But nothing's broken. Ice and ibuprofen should handle it. That's it? That's it. You're tougher than you look. Grace laughs. It sounds slightly hysterical, even to her own ears. Agent Morrison appears, clipboard in hand. Miss Walker, ready to give your statement? Grace nods. Yes. They move to a mobile command unit parked on the tarmac. Inside, it's sterile and fluorescent lit. Grace sits at a small table while Morrison sets up a recording device. This is just preliminary, he explains. We'll need a full deposition later, but right now I just need the basics. Start from the beginning. When did you first realize something was wrong? Grace takes a breath and tells him everything. The seat mix-up, Liam's warning, the red emergency lights, the storage bay, the cockpit. Morrison listens without interrupting, his pen moving steadily across his notepad. When she finishes, he sets down his pen and looks at her. You did good work today, Miss Walker. Most people would have panicked. You stayed calm, observed details, and acted when it mattered. That's exceptional. I just did what I had to do. That's what makes it exceptional. Morrison glances at his notes. Liam Carver, you trust him? Grace doesn't hesitate. Yes. Why? Because he put himself between me and danger. Because he didn't have to help me, but he did. Because when I look at him, I don't see someone who enjoys violence. I see someone who carries the weight of it. Morrison nods slowly. The Carver family has a complicated history with law enforcement. But Liam's different. He's been cooperative, helpful even when it comes to taking down the cartels. He pauses. But I need to be clear. Getting involved with him means getting involved with that world. You understand that? I'm not involved with him, Grace says quietly. I just met him 6 hours ago. And yet you're defending him to a federal agent. Grace's cheeks flush. He saved my life. He did, but he's also connected to organized crime. That doesn't just go away because he's a good guy. Grace knows he's right. She knows it. But she also knows what she saw in Liam's eyes. The exhaustion, the guilt, the desperate desire to be more than what his name demands. I understand, she says finally. But that doesn't change what he did today. Morrison studies her for a long moment. Then he nods. Fair enough. You're free to go, Miss Walker. We'll be in touch for the full deposition, but for now, get some rest. Grace steps out of the command unit. The tarmac is organized chaos. Agents interviewing passengers, paramedics treating minor injuries, local news crews setting up behind police barricades. She scans the crowd, looking for Liam. He's not there. Her chest tightens with disappointment. Maybe he already left. Maybe this is where it ends. She starts walking toward the terminal, her shoulder aching with every step. Grace, she spins. Liam stands at the edge of the tarmac, his coat draped over one arm. The cut above his eye has been properly bandaged. He looks tired, worn, but his eyes are clear. "You came back," she says. "I said I would." "The FBI, cooperative witness. I answered their questions, gave my statement, and vouched for your actions." He steps closer. "Agent Morrison is putting you in for a commendation, by the way, for bravery under fire." "I don't need a commendation." "Maybe not, but you deserve one." Liam stops in front of her, close enough that she has to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. "Listen, I know this has been a lot, and I know you probably just want to go home and forget this ever happened. That's not, but before you do, I need you to know something." Liam's voice drops, soft but intense. "Meeting you, working with you, it reminded me why I do this, why I keep trying to be better, even when it feels impossible. You didn't just save lives today, Grace. You saved me too, from becoming so jaded I forget what's worth fighting for." Grace's throat tightens. She doesn't trust herself to speak. "I don't know what happens next," Liam continues. "I don't know if you'll want to see me again, and I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. But if there's even a chance, if you'd let me take you to dinner somewhere safe and normal, I'd like that. I'd like that a lot." Grace stares at him. This man who faced down killers, who held her in the dark, who looked at her like she mattered. "I teach second grade," she says finally. "I have a cat named Mr. Whiskers. I cry during sappy commercials, and I'm scared of turbulence, and I've never even gotten a speeding ticket." "Okay, you're in the Mafia." "Technically, yes." "And you think dinner is a good idea?" Liam's mouth curves. "I think it's the best idea I've had in years." Grace laughs. It's shaky and disbelieving, but it's real. "Okay, dinner, somewhere normal." "Somewhere normal," Liam agrees. His smile widens, just a fraction. "Thank you." "For what?" "For giving me a chance to prove I'm more than my name." They stand there in the morning light, surrounded by chaos and sirens and the aftermath of survival. And for the first time in hours, Grace feels something other than fear. She feels hope. Liam extends his hand. "Come on, let's get you home." Grace takes it. His fingers close around hers, warm and strong. "What about you?" she asks. "Where's home for you?" Liam looks at her, really looks. "I'm starting to think," he says quietly. "It might be wherever you are." 3 weeks later. Grace stands in front of her classroom, reading aloud to 23 second graders. "The Very Hungry Caterpillar," a story about transformation, about becoming something new. The bell rings, the children scatter, a blur of laughter and backpacks. Grace gathers her things, lesson plans, graded papers. A drawing from Emma that says, "You're the best techer." She smiles. Outside, the October air is crisp. Leaves tumble across the parking lot, gold and orange. And leaning against a sleek black car is Liam. He's traded the charcoal suit for jeans and a dark sweater. The signet ring is still there, catching the light. Grace crosses to him. "You're early." "I didn't want to be late." "It's just dinner." "It's not just dinner," Liam says. "Not to me." Grace's heart swells. Over the past 3 weeks, they've talked, really talked, about his family, her dreams, the weight of his choices, the courage of hers. He's been honest, unflinchingly so. About the Carver family, the port, the warehouse district, the lines he's walked and the ones he's crossed. And Grace has been honest, too, about her fears, her hopes, her belief that people can change if they choose to. "I'm trying," Liam told her one night over coffee in a quiet diner. "To be better, to do better." "I know," Grace said. "I see it." And she did. In the way he volunteered at the community center, in the way he spoke to the FBI with transparency, in the way he looked at her, not like she was fragile, but like she was strong. Now, standing in the school parking lot, Liam opens the car door for her. "Ready?" Grace nods. "Ready." They drive through the city, past the harbor, past the warehouses where Liam once conducted business, past the diner where they shared their first real conversation, and then to a rooftop restaurant overlooking the water. The sun is setting, the sky is painted in shades of rose and gold. They sit across from each other, candlelight flickering between them. "Thank you," Grace says. "For what?" "For giving me a reason to believe in second chances." Liam reaches across the table. His hand covers hers. "You gave me that first." Grace turns her hand, lacing her fingers with his. The signet ring presses against her palm. "I don't know what this is," she admits, "or where it goes." "Neither do I," Liam says, "but I'd like to find out, with you." Grace's eyes shine. "Even if it's complicated?" "Especially then." Later, as they stand at the railing, watching the city lights reflect on the water, Liam wraps his coat around Grace's shoulders. She leans into him, feeling the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. "I never thought I'd be here," Grace murmurs, "with you after everything." "Me neither." "Does it scare you?" Liam considers. "The unknown? Yes. Losing you? More than I'd like to admit." Grace looks up at him. "Then stay." "Stay?" "With me, in this, whatever it becomes." Liam's hand cups her face. His thumb traces her cheekbone. "I'm not going anywhere." And when he kisses her, it's gentle, reverent, a promise wrapped in warmth. Grace closes her eyes. And for the first time in a long time, she feels safe. Not because someone is protecting her, but because she's choosing to stay. Love isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone willing to grow and choosing to grow with them. Real courage means staying when it's easier to run, trusting when it's safer to doubt, and believing that even the most unexpected connections can lead us exactly where we need to be. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that second chances are real, that love can heal, and that sometimes the wrong seat leads to exactly the right person. And subscribe for more stories that remind us all. Home is where the heart is brave enough to stay.